Hello, my name is Hope from the platform of eSeniors.org. eSeniors is a non-profit organization that provides virtual companion for seniors from age 60 and above. Virtual companion is basically designed to support seniors emotionally and to provide companionship for seniors who feel lonely and isolated from their communities. And this is done remotely through the usage of video chat technology. Today, I want to especially welcome you all to today's book reading section. We are reading a book from Alex Ageye titled The Unexpected Joy at Dawn. We have done several chapters, so we are going to be starting off from where we stopped. Listen as I read. The shriek sounds of insects filled the forest. Suddenly, there was a disturbance near him. Some animals were fleeing, followed by a prolonged cracking sound. He felt a sharp object slash through his left shoulder. His foot missed the slippery ledges and he landed on the soft floor of the hall. He bled profusely. The soil was cold at first, but the temperature rose fast around him. He stared, mourning. Not too far away, Joe, who found his bag too heavy to carry, put it away temporarily, yawned as he stretched his bag and took the sack again. That done, he rested by a tree. A sharp noise sounded in the forest. He knelt down and held his load. The sound was that of a dead wood being trampled upon, and the rush of animals escaping. A gunshot hit dead wood nearby and sent cracking sounds through the forest. He was sure of the gunshot. He was dazed and confusedly halted his search. His heart beat fast, but he waited for whatever was scaring the animals to come out before he made up his mind. The river was wide and along its bank were big trees. He could see the flat surface of the river, but nothing appeared from there. All was still. Then the sound came again, followed by a flash of light. An antelope ran past and fell into the river. He wondered what had happened to his colleagues. He judged that the light flashing in the woods were from his people. Guards! Somebody said in alarm. The spasms of forest breeze fanned him. An opening appeared in the branches of the leaves above, and the moonlight came pouring down brightly, piercing the darkness below. Joe saw a crab moving sideways, its eyes pointing outward. Its left claw held a palm fruit. As it went on its way, it stopped. The fruit fell and rolled slowly away and fell into the river. Joe tiptoed. He looked around once more. Some noise nearby kept him rooted to the spot where he stood was so open, and anyone coming that way would have sighted him easily. He felt it was unwise to walk on, still unsure of the cause of the flashes of light and the gunshot. He looked hard into the distance and at last saw the trees he was looking for. He and his colleague referred to them as the three sisters. There were three huge trees standing together. Their roots had developed outward and were high enough to hide him. He only needed to get to them. He crawled, pulling the heavy sack after him, having abandoned his tools. It was not easy climbing the large roots. He threw his sack over and hastily climbed a large root. He fell into the midst of the three sisters. He looked around him. He was surrounded completely by the roots and darkness. He was an illegal miner. He knew well that the guards were hunting them. Their trade was illegal and it had no protection against them or their guns. He took his shock obviously. He wanted to stay alive. He needed his people by him. The forest was wide and vast. The routes out of it were unmarked and several, but none appealed to him. He had hated going to the mines. He maintained that it was not safe yet. It was only trouble and bad luck, he thought. He feared a possible clash with the guards or the vigilante. He told himself so. He was in the majority and had to submit to majority opinion. Beyond that, he did not want to go. It was well he thought so. He did not stand his ground firmly enough and was persuaded. He believed his position was the right one. Even so, he did not hold anyone accountable or did not want to. What was done was done. He knew that flogging the story too much or blaming all by himself was not the right thing to do. That would be beating a dead horse for causing disaster. Once he went against his own good counsel, he had to take his share of the blame. It should be a lesson. Keep yourself together and save your heart. Keep your blood pressure within limits, he told himself. He had told people it would not be well. It was not too long ago they had gone to the noble field as before. There was a dash with the mine guys. On that occasion, his men shot two guards. That time he blamed his men for being careless. It was followed a year later by one more guard being killed by his men. He singled out Talio for blame for the shooting of the guard. He regretted the incident and left the team to resolve never go to the mines again armed. There was no one with whom to parley on the issues or to blame. He was right in his way of playing a game he had not wanted to be part in. He walked out his escape. He liked the pile of stones he carried. He liked it. It would fetch him a good price. If he got away a free man. After all, no dagger operator claimed sainthood. None ever made dates with the Pope. None even imagined the chance. Not even a faint desire. They were like sharks within the rage of the smell of blood, sure of getting their prey. The shark captured the ocean and anticipated no challenge. It was only prey it looked for and not mischief. All it needed was its victim, whom it would prey on and have as meat as dinner. That was all. It was like that. He and his men had footaged the forest time and again. They had been famous in their circles for their plots and wealth. They always had made their escape. No guard had ever touched them. Once they were on the loose in the mines, they were on familiar grounds. They knew the forest, the trees to which they had given names. each according its kind and character, featured in the bearing of the land, their sloughs and gorges. They had slept in the trees and waited for them to catch their breath. It was not going to be like that always, he thought painfully. Daylight was catching on slowly. He would be picked up easily like a snail in daylight if he did not make his move. He got up from where he sat and watched round, trying not to wake the thin night gradually folding up. He did not want to rustle the leaves and disturb the cold, scentless forest breeze wailing around. He climbed the smallest of the roots, spread his limbs across and parallel to it. His eyes drafted left and right. Silence had returned as he dug at his bag. The bag rather seemed to drag him. He stuck to it. It was a prize worth dying for. If he survived, he would compose a song for Mama, he thought. He climbed down. His slim figure was a twin among the trees. He hurtled on from tree to tree, from the lowest land to the peak of the hills. No more hurrying and not anxious. It was hell all right. Yet he would hunt for gems and would not be afraid. He was simply not afraid. Those in the villages got gold without being seen hunting for it. Some picked up diamonds washed into the open by the rains and streams. It was no secret and no arrests were made. They were chance collection. It was so in Akpata and the district of Akpomosu. Picking gems from mud walls after rain and fallings were rather an old game. Only the rain and the stream mattered. The rainfall announced hunting time in some areas, why arrest everyone for winning gold or diamonds, which were only waiting to be picked up? He was confident now. God was the country's glory. The diamonds were the boundary marks, and there was too much of it to arouse anyone's brother. He felt his fear slip away. Joe emerged from the roots of the three sisters. The sky was opening up. The fog hugged Joe and the morning washed his feet and face. He thought about the events of the past many hours. That was life, he said to himself. He did not smile. He had evaded the guards successfully. He walked into the hut. His friends were gone. He hoped. He opened the secret vault and took out some of the gems inside it. A burst of energy shocked him up. He turned southwards to the road. The farmers were re-entering the forest from the path, and others waited by the road to catch the mammy stuck to town. He joined those by the road and waited for the transport to Accra. The other members of Joe's team were still buried in the dense forest. Tally was making his escape difficult. Someone said that Talio had been hit. The one spoke in a hushed tone. The guards, he said, had him. Talio morning alarmed his colleagues, who had gathered around him and were trying to lift him out of the hole before the guards got closer. He was heavy, and pulling him out was not easy. Suddenly, they stopped and argued for a while. He's trouble, someone said. Let's put him out before he leads the guards to us. Leaving him here would be dangerous. That the old head was popping out of the hole. The volunteer came forward, picked up an axe, and swung it upward. It made a dull, innocent sound as it landed, splitting the unfortunate man's head. They quickly piled the broken wood and leaves on the mouth of the hole, covering the dead man under it. Thereafter, they split up and ran towards the matches. It had not been an easy decision. They calculated that the guards would avoid the route they had taken. Gradually, they got to the secret unmarked path which led to the hut. No one else was hurt. It was great to mark it there, but getting away completely depended on how unwilling the guards were to pursue them. They had no option but to wait. They were prepared to fight their way out if it came to that, but with no gun, they figured they were in a precarious situation. The gunshot had stopped. Perhaps the guard had gone away, or they were looking around. The jammed stickers waited. What Mama did early in the morning was drive to the chairman of Amy Christie. Tom Monday was there too. The chairman of the church would be happy if he heard her decision to marry Joe, and so would the other elders. There were many of the executive members, as if they were at a meeting. Perhaps they were meeting to wait for her. She greeted them and sat near Tom. The chairman gave her a record of expenditure for the previous day's preaching and teaching at Ijeshi, and the receipts of the items that had been procured for the church. They included a new spare tire, and he added that the bill for 100 naira was the cheapest one could get for a lorry tire at that moment. The crusade went well, he said, though we will miss your company. She nodded. Then the chairman narrated how Tom had sought for her. He had come to join the church, which was the first reason for his coming. The second reason was that he wanted to see her personally too. But before you go, Mama, the chairman spoke. I want to warn you. Mama adjusted herself in the seat, waiting to hear what he had for her and also tell them the good news about her impending marriage. There has been a serious robbery here in Ijeshi, he said, and you see, not only was a man struck dead during the robbery, but also no one has any idea who the robbers were. They killed and took away precious things. It means the robbery was carefully planned. Those who did that were wicked and callous. I suspect aliens. Only they will do a thing like that. They are dangerous, you see. Mama shook her head. The aliens, she said, and changed the topic. Neil was on her mind, and she did not feel comfortable when the word alliance was mentioned. What's today's program? She asked. We are going to Abba at 2 o'clock. Something in Mama's pious demanded attention from those gathered in the room. The old man swallowed what he had wanted to say. He and the rest listened to Mama recount her experience in her travel. She was asked about her marriage. You mean he's not one of us? The chairman asked. Tom Monday closed his eyes, but the church elder spoke first. Oh no, he shouted and turned full circle, hitting his left palm with his clenched fist. If I would be permitted to advise you, I would say that distance and tribe counts. Mama was already impatient. What do we preach about the oneness of the tribe, nation, people, races? I know that we do, he replied, but I'm an elderly man and know a few things you need to learn. He paused and gestured with his right hand for emphasis. You are an elder. You are an elder, and you should consider whatever you do as a private matter. As such, you see, the old man turned to Tom. As I said, your marriage is a matter that should concern the church, and the elders want to discuss it. You see, it will involve the church, he said. Nothing you say will alter my stand, she said. Let me warn you, your decision could create a rift in our church, and if you cause trouble, I will throw my whole weight against you. The old man, aware of Mama's position in the church, was, however, cautious. In the church, the pastor had relied on her generosity. She had financed the development of the church building, and the church continued to rely on her assistance. No church discourages a marriage or on account of rotten prejudice. If matters become worse, I will even take the matter to headquarters. However, Tom Monday said, I came here a true son of the soil, but as matters stand now, I will no more wait. I propose at once to marry you. Consider it, Mama. It's an honest proposal. I traveled all the way here from Hillary to tell you I love you with all my heart and ask you if you will marry me. I ask you to marry me. I will stand by you in everything. Mama laughed. The old man took a renewed interest in the affair and persuaded Mama to accept Tom's offer. He did not hope to win the case if it was taken to the headquarters of the church. When Mama spoke to her, gone, he said, then I advise you to do it privately. I mean, don't involve the church. We could arrange the marriage ceremony outside the church with a few friends of ours. An elder could be assigned to represent the church at the ceremony. My marriage will involve everyone in the suburb, in the church, and in my company. Oh, then you will not drag me into it, please. Don't push this filthy through my throat, you see. If you want to be excused in this, then I shall be obliged to propose your removal from the church council. Enough, the old man said. Let's make it cool. As I said, please, I shan't interfere, but leave the church out of it. And if you will want to make trouble, I will say let's forget it. She turned to the door. The old man was speaking, so she stopped. What did you say? He asked. If you don't cause further complication, then, she said, then what? If you put impediments, in my way, I will fight to get you out. The old man repeated, regretting the option, but I could refuse to be present at the ceremony. Think about what I said. I'm advising you as a father. Tom here has made a fine proposal. She didn't look at Tom. She remembered she had to prepare towards the crusade in afternoon, and she was planning to talk to her employees. She would tell them she was getting married and they would be involved in the ceremony. She remained resolved. The hotel proprietor had a bad sleep during the night. He was woken from bed to see a drunk who had broken the video receiver in the hall. Before he climbed to his room again, he instructed his assistant not to allow anyone to enter room 7. The immigration officers came in and requested to inspect the rooms. However, the attendants did not open room 7 because the claimed to key was lost. When the proprietor got to get downstairs, he asked the attendant to fetch some sampling in the storeroom and get some old corrugated iron sheets. He opened the doors and inspected the room. The beds were dressed. There were no one, though the personal effects of the occupants were still there. He shook his head. While disgruntled, the girl left their personal belongings. He exclaimed to an attendant who was cleaning the furniture at the hall. The immigration wouldn't allow them to take anything. Oga, replied the attendant. He held the video receiver and examined it. The turning was broken. He removed the key from his pocket and opened the door to room 7. Magical body lay on the bed. Two men were standing behind him and he was startled. He closed the door fast. What now? He asked. We came to look for the ladies here. Oh, ladies now. Different ladies live here now. Which of them? The Ghanaian ladies. Oh, Ghana now, he said, walking to the hall once more. He asked an attendant to get him a bottle of chaps from the hotel bar. Neil and his colleagues followed him to the hall. The attendant brought the drink and the proprietor broke the seal, filled the glass, and drank it off. He watched the door of the hall thoughtfully. Those ladies you were looking for were taken away by the immigration. He coughed. He filled the glass again and drank it off. One at one go. You didn't meet the immigration officer on the way, the proprietor asked. No, many of them, they are all been taken away. The proprietor followed them as they were leaving the hall. When he was sure they were gone, he joined the attendant on the compound. He had in his pocket some old nails. Come, come, he said, summoning them to the garage. There he asked them to prepare coffin. They devoted the saplings. They finished it on time. There were some openings at the sides of the coffin, and they attempted to cover them with the iron sheet. The coffin was not compact. They removed the body from the room, lowered it into the coffin, and placed an iron sheet on top of it. Part of the body could be seen through the narrow parallel opening at the side. Four attendants poured it into rising tipper chalk and covered it with a tarpaulin. They drove the truck outside. The proprietor walked out and closed the main hotel door. He jumped into the front seat of the vehicle. One of the attendants drove the truck down the road. After 10 minutes drive, they turned on the diversion road to the left. It was bumpy and weedy. After 5 more minutes, they stopped by an old refuse dump site. The proprietor waited in the truck while the attendants labored to dig a grave. They managed a shallow one into which they lowered the coffin, heaped the soil and some leaves over it, and left. Oh, That was an interesting story, right? So this is where we are going to be ending today's book reading section. Thank you so much for listening. Till we meet again in the next one. Thank you and bye.